Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present this Halloween edition of Kamen Rider Gavv, Episode 9. It's Halloween, everybody, and in this first scene, we see Sashika and Shoma getting greeted by these trick-or-treaters. And I have to say, Shoma is starting to like Halloween. I mean, it makes sense because Halloween, free candy, right? And before I move on, I have to say something about his costume. It makes sense based on his character because he is a young adult, but on the inside, he acts like a child. But we understand why. He's been locked up in a room in a mansion for God only knows how long. So it makes sense. He is innocent. He doesn't know the ways of the world yet. But I have to say, he looks cute, I have to say, but at the same time, he looks like a dork, but in a good way. But I have to say this, guys. Like, any favorite writer, like, that you can think of in your head, can you see them wearing Shoma's costume? Because I definitely don't see Ace, especially, wearing that costume. He would drop dead first before that ever happens. Like, Hotaro, I can already imagine him wearing that costume. Even if Renge and Sabi, well, more specifically Renge, be persuading him to wear it for the sake of trying to capture a Kemi. Then he will do it for the sake of his children. But any other main writer or secondary writer, I just cannot see any of them wearing that getup. But Shoma is the only one so far that can pull off, you know, the cuteness of wearing that ridiculous costume. But anyways, so Shoma is starting to like Halloween because he knows that Halloween is a day of, you know, getting free candy. It's not about scaring people and wearing costumes and all that. In his mind, he thinks that Halloween is a day that he gets free treats. So he disappears on Sashika because Sashika, you know, ran out of candy, and she refilled it, and she turns around and sees Shoma, you know, ditched her. Why, you may ask? Well, he's going trick-or-treating. That's why he left. So we move on from Shoma discovering his love for Halloween and his adventures of, you know, trick-or-treating. We go to Hanto, and he is looking through his phone because he realizes that, you know, he is famous online. And there's so many pictures of him in his writer form, you know, beating up Ganyutes and whatnot. And he knows that he needs to be very, very careful because if he gets his identity revealed, that then he will get screwed. So he is trying his best to be very careful. And then we cut to this, not really scene, but we cut to these two girls who are practicing something. And we get to hear them talk about this girl from their school who disappeared. And this is where Hanto was like, monster, disappearance, right? So we move on from, you know, Hanto's ears, you know, perking up the moment he heard, you know, missing and monster. We get to the twins. Our favorite twins. And it's obvious that they're planning something thanks to, you know, this board of, you know, paper sticking and whatnot. And they get greeted by their brother Nabe, and he presents them a case of what looks like to be 2 containers. And we get this flashback of the twins begging their older brother Lagos for a second chance, that they will kill their half-brother, and as a bonus, we will give you 5 cases of presses, or aka ingredients, you know, for capture humans and all that. And Lago's like, oh, okay, all right, I'll give you a second chance. So when am I gonna expect these 5 cases? 10 days. So they have 10 days to not only kill their half brother, but also have 5 cases of presses to present their older brother. So they're on a time crunch, and they're planning something evil and ghoulish to their older brother. Well, half brother. Younger half brother. There you go. So after that, we go back to Hanto. He approaches the girls, but the girls screams and yell at him that he is a kidnapper trying to kidnap the girls. And Hanto was like, no, I'm just a writer. I just want to ask you for questions, that's all. Because I heard monsters and missing and all that. So I just want information because I'm a writer. And the girls just like runs away from him. And what makes matters even worse is that there were people there. And Hanto's like, no, I'm not a kidnapper. And he just walks away in shame. And to be honest, like, this scene could have been 10 times funnier if he just covered his face up with his coat and just does the walk of shame. Of course, there's nothing to be ashamed about because we all know that he's not a kidnapper, but like, he just covers up and like, don't look at me. This is all a misunderstanding. That would have been so funny. So we get to see the disgraced Hanto trying to walk away from the evil staring eyes of the people to Shoma. Shoma and his innocence. Oh my god. He and his goofy costume goes around town telling people for the trick-or-treats, and the adults are looking at him funny and be like, are you a little bit too old for trick-or-treating? And Shoma was like, trick-or-treat. But he's not angry about it. He's just like being, come on, trick-or-treat. And he's all smiling, being all cute. And of course the adults had to give in and just give him the stupid candy. Like, of course it will be weird for an adult to do trick-or-treating unless they're doing it for their own kids. Okay, and then it makes sense. But even still, like, it's really weird that an adult be, trick-or-treating. Unless, of course, again, it's for a favor. But in any case, he gets his treats. And as he was walking away and enjoying his basket full of candies, we get to see the same girl, well, one of them, who ran away from Hanto. And Shoma was like, why are you looking so sad and, gloomy and all that? I could give you one of my candies to cheer you up. And the girl was like, no, thank you. I gave up on treats. I don't like treats. And then Hanto catches up with her and says something. But before he gets another word edgewise, he just stares at Shoma with his pumpkin costume and asks, like, what's up with this getup? Like, what is it? You look like a dork. It's Halloween. I think Hanto forgot that, at least in his timeline, it's Halloween. And the girl successfully sneaks past the boys, and Hanto again continues on his chase. And then we get to the next scene where Hanto catches up to the girl and saves the girl because she nearly got ran over by a car. And then we quickly go to the next scene where they talk about, they were exchanging information. The girl gives Hanto the information he wants about the missing girl and this tunnel. And apparently there's a monster living there. And then we get, a little bit of getting to know one another. We learned that this girl, it wants to be an idol. And she likes sweets, but she gave them up in order to, not get fat, because if you're eating too much sweets, then you'll get fat. So she stopped eating sweets because of that. And then we get to Hanto and his reasons as to why he's hunting down monsters. Of course, he doesn't reveal too much, but just the basics. Like his mother got kidnapped, and he is sick and tired of these monsters kidnapping innocent people, and this is why I hate them so much. Which, before I get any further, I have an interesting theory I want to give to you guys, aside from the theory that Hanto and Shoma could be half siblings. There is a reason why people in creative decided not to do a face reveal of who Hanto's mother is, and it's done by design, because in a later episode we're gonna have this reveal that Hanto's mother is Shoma's mother, and they're gonna be half siblings. Again, how will Hanto take it? How would he take the news that he has a younger brother who is a half Ganyut, the species that he hates so much? Plus, how is he gonna handle the truth of how his mother died? And once he hears the news, is he gonna turn heel and give in to his hunger for revenge and turn his hatred towards the Stomach family, more specifically Gota, since she was the one who crushed the press up in front of Shoma's face? It would be interesting how Shoma would do in this situation, because he will be stuck in the middle. Knowing Shoma, he knows that he needs to stop the Stomach family at all cost, but not at the point of killing them. He wants to stop them, yes, but not through death. There's other ways, but Hanto will be like, no, I want to kill him for killing my mother. And Shoma will have to be the one to tell Hanto, yes, I get it, she's my mom too. And you have every right to get revenge, but this is not the way. Revenge is never the answer. Justice is. This has to be done right. And we will have an interesting fight between Shoma and Hanto and whatnot. But I'm getting too ahead of myself here, but this is an interesting theory, because he said it himself in the scene that he hates Ganyuts with a passion, and he has every reason to hate them. But how is he going to take the news that not only that he has a half sibling with, having, this, him being a half Ganyut and his extended family being, his extended family that killed off his mom? How is he going to handle it? Not well, but eventually he will get over it with Shoma's help. But as of right now, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but it's just seeds already been planted. And then just to add on, just to finish the scene, the girl continues on about the missing girl named Tamura, and she is apparently, her classmate who went missing. And this is where Hanto asks this girl that, hey, is it possible to drop by and just look around? And it leads to the next scene. Hanto shows up at the dance school. He sees the children practicing, and at the very end, you see the dance teacher giving them sweets, and the girl is feeling down and depressed and not taking the sweet. But before that, Hanto was like staring at this teacher and be all like, something's odd and weird about this teacher. And this teacher is fat, right? You can tell by his stomach. And Hanto was like, is there a possibility that there's a mouth underneath that shirt? Because he looks big for a dance teacher. So we move on to the next scene. The girl and Hanto meet each other, and the girl is thinking of giving up because she feels that she is the weak link. If she feels like the weak link, she wants to quit because she doesn't want the team to be held back because of her. And Hanto was like, well, okay, go ahead and quit. And I'm sure the reason for that is to get a reaction out of her. And she did get a reaction. She was like, no, I don't want to. Look, I don't want to quit, but it's just, I don't know what to do. It's so hard right now. I've been practicing, but I feel like I'm being left behind and all that stuff. And this is where Hanto gave a great response to this little girl. And he says, and I quote, then keep going. If you don't want to quit, just keep going. Do not compare yourself with other people. What matters is who and what you want to be. That's great advice. And I'm like, Hanto, where the hell were you when Shanika was getting splashed with yellow paint by a Gavv? A Gavv who was jealous of his other artist partner, which I forgot her name. Oh, Tamaki, who got, supposedly, spotted by this supposed, artist who wanted to take her to Paris, which we all know that it was all a lie, but still. And like, where the hell were you, Hanto? You could have been with Sashika and get, yellow painted on, but no, you came in later. Hanto, come on, chocolate man, you failed me, but you gave good advice to this little girl. So after the advice, now we learn the name of this girl named Kairi. And she invites Hanto to some park tomorrow, but Hanto's like, I'm too busy, so I can't go. And then we get Kairi, getting a treat from her classmate, and she goes away. And then Hanto sees shady teacher man and stalks one of his students. And this is where Hanto says, okay, yes, I will see you tomorrow. And he just tries to stalk this shady teacher man. So we get to sad Shoma in the next scene because he realizes that Halloween is just a one-day event that happens every once a year. But, even though he's sad, he stares at his basket full of candies and realizes, well, at least I have my basket full of candies. And we see him licking this huge lollipop, and he starts eating other candies. And of course, he is producing his cachizos. And then all of a sudden, this scene is funny because he gets his basket stolen by an agent. Oh man, that was so funny because as he was eating his candies, all of a sudden this agent on a motorcycle just rides and ends up stealing the basket. And this scene would have been 10 times funnier if he would have responded with, look, you can do all these bad things to me, but stealing my basket full of candies, that is a huge no-no, and you're going to pay. If we could have seen Shoma's attempt of an angry look face, like, since it's Halloween and not, he will turn into a monster and just like, my candies, But unfortunately, we didn't get that. So he summons his motorcycle and chases after the agent that stole his candies. So we move on from the quote-unquote angry Shoma to Hanto again. and he is stalking Shady Teacher Man, and Shady Teacher Man is stalking one of his students, and they made it to the area where this tunnel that holds this monster in area is, and this is where Hanto decides that, okay, this is now or never, and tries to expose the Shady Teacher Man, and does the whole "do you have a mouth on your stomach?" and tries to lift off his shirt, but he doesn't lift off his shirt, but he discovers that there's like hand warmers on his stomach, and apparently the teacher is sick. He's having stomach issues, and the reason why he is following one of his students is because he has heard that he heard what happened to one of his students, and he just wants to make sure that his students are arriving home safely. And this is where awkwardly Teacher Man leaves, because apparently he has stomach issues and he is a desperate need of going to the bathroom. So as he quickly leaves to find a bathroom, we see one student leaving while we see another. I don't think he is a student, but he is or he isn't, it doesn't matter, but there was a kid eating candy or some sweet at the entrance of the tunnel, and we witness a tongue, and this poor kid is getting tongue-tied, and he was about to turn into a press, but luckily Hanto came in the nick of time, rescues the boy, and tells him to leave. And so we have this fight between Ganyu and Valen. So we have this fight inside the tunnel, and then we get to the next scene where Shoma is led inside into yet again another warehouse, a different warehouse, but still a warehouse, and he is pretty much led into a trap led by his twin brother and sister. And we now know what were the containers for. They're just lasers, and the twins planted lasers around the warehouse, and they have a unique ability, because every time Shoma transforms to his chocolate form or his marshmallow form, for example, if he gets shot, his armor melts off. So we get to witness his chocolate and his marshmallow form getting melted off thanks to these lasers. And Shoma knows that he is in deep duty. So yeah, and the twins right now think that, oh, we have this in the bag and Lago will give us our jobs back. Everything is hunky-dory. But yeah, I will not count out the king of sweets just yet. So as poor Shoma is getting shot at and his armor getting melted off, we go back to Hanto in the tunnel, and unfortunately his fight between this Ganyu has gone to Kakaz, because he was getting his ass whooped, and he doesn't let the Ganyu escape, but the Ganyu escapes. And as he was about to chase the Ganyu, he stops himself because he noticed something about this wrapper that was on the ground. He picks it up and he notices this sticker that has this logo on it that he saw a couple of scenes back, and he discovers the identity of the Ganyu, and it was the baker that he bumped into earlier. So yeah, so even though the monster wasn't destroyed, he now knows who the Ganyu is. So we move on from the shocking discovery to Shoma once again getting shot at and his armor getting melted off. He tries to call out to this new Gachizo that was produced from licking the lollipop, and it shows up. He uses this to become this giant mecha of a writer. Seriously, the suit looks badass, I have to say. And uh, him being the lollipop Gundam, Jesus. But I have to say, kudos to the suit actor because it looks heavy. Like, how can one like walk around with it? Of course, you cannot run in that suit; it's impossible. But how can you walk? Is it really that heavy? Like, I would be shocked if it's not heavy. But damn! But still, kudos to the suit actor. To wrap up this battle short, we see Lollipop Gundam using his big gun and shoots out lollipops to destroy all the lasers that are inside the warehouse, including the agent. And after the whole shootout, the twins know that they're defeated, and they look at their younger brother with disgust and be like, next time, because we have 9 days left. And they leave with disgust. And yeah, so victory belongs to Shoma once again. And we move on to the last couple of scenes of this episode. Hanto returns to the bakery, but he discovers that there's no bakery. Like, it disappeared, as if it didn't exist at all. So Hanto is like, okay, I know this bakery was here. How did it disappear? And he noticed something weird on the ground, like this huge line. And that's pretty much it there. And then we cut to Shoma writing on his food diary, and he is hoping that next year's Halloween will be better than this year's, and hopefully he will get more candy and all that stuff. And then we move on to this dark final scene of this episode where Kairi, decides to take a bite out of this sweet. And as she is munching on the sweet, you see the male guy just creepily walking towards her from behind. And we witness, the tongue tying and the eventual turning this little girl into this press. And that, my friends, is the end of the episode. I have to say, it wouldn't be a Halloween episode without a dark ending. And it's obvious that there's no Hanto or Shoma to stop that. So we all know that she gets kidnapped and turned. But yeah, overall, this episode was funny. I have to say, though, like I mentioned in those two scenes, like, it could have been funnier to have Shoma's reaction of him trying to be angry that his stuff got stolen, and then Hanto, covering his face with his coat and just walks away in shame. That would have been so funny, but it didn't happen. But yeah, another great episode, and the lollipop armor. It's a good. I have to say, the form itself, it's better than the forms that we had so far. And again, kudos to the actor. And yeah, I think that's it. Give me your thoughts about what I said about, would Hanto, be okay with the fact that Shoma is a half Ganyut if it's discovered that he has a younger brother, and how would he take the news that it was one of his siblings that killed his mom? So is he gonna have a revenge tour, and Shoma will try to stop him? Like, give me your theories on that, because I get this feeling that the seeds are already planted for this eventual reveal that Hanto and Shoma's mom are one and the same, that sort of thing. Other than that, guys, I think that is it. Tell me, guys, have you seen the episode? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? If so, what would you change if you dislike it? And give it a like if you like it, and please subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you all on the other side of Oblivion. And one last thing before I go. Give me your thoughts and opinions of who do you think will pull off Shoma's costume other than Shoma himself. I know I told you guys Hotaro would be my pick, but give me your thoughts of who can pull off that costume. Because again, if you choose Ace, I'll be like, why Ace? Because I don't think Ace would wear that. Just saying. But yeah, so thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all on the other side of Oblivion. Johnny!